We'll come back to Nigeria's largest and most capitalized telecom operator, MTN, which is currently pursuing a 575 million ordinary shares initial offering to retail investors in the country. Is the largest market on the African continent. Today, the telco giant concludes its national investors roadshows in Lagos. Lanre Buluro is the managing director, capital markets at Hill Denham, the lead financial advisory firm for the MTN Nigeria's public offer. Lanre joins me now from our Lagos studios here. I call this facts behind the offer analysis, my friend. Thanks for making it tonight. It's a very busy time to talk to you, financial advisor. Tell me, what is the business case for the MTN public offer?
Thanks, Bosun. It's been a while, huh? Thanks for having me on there. And listen, it's quite apt that I'm back on to discuss about MTN and this offer. And to your question about the business case, Group, it's MTN Group, that is selling down a stake. If you recollect, in 2019, we're supposed to do an IPO. It evolved into a listing by introduction. At that point was to sell down quite a decent amount of its units to the public market. But now we are, coming with an equity offer for sale. And what we've done is to go to the SEC to get an approval for a program. And that program is for about 2.8 billion units. And this is the first of many series in that program. This is Series 1, where we're offering about 575 million units to the market. Objective here is to, for Group to sell them. Currently, they're holding about 79%, looking to sell them out to about 65%, so 14% to the Nigerian investor base. Objective here is to have a lot of retail shareholders, and that's really, if I may say, is our core objective here. We looked to do this in two tranches, one for institutional investors, which happened about a week and a half ago, where 10% of the offer was, made available to them. 90% of that balance is what we're currently in the market for and offering to our retail shareholder base today.
Well, what about the investment case for the IPO? The pricing at 169, the current price at which this stock is trading on the market. What's the outlook on dividend yield? Will investors, retail investors to this IPO, will they qualify for dividend at the end of the year?
Yes, I mean, as I mentioned earlier, we did a book build for institutional investors about a week and a half ago, where we discovered, what the price was a price range, and at the end of that book build, we came about with about 169. That's where most of the demand was, and just to, give an update on that, it was highly subscribed. At the end of this process, when in about a week and a half from now, we'll be allotting to successful investors that submitted bids in that book build and also in the retail offer. In terms of the price, normally, in this type of transaction, given the fact that MTN is currently listed, there's a live price. To make this, quite attractive and to incentivize a lot of investors to participate, we offer this at a discount, and that's global practice in most cases. So I think the 169 is a good price, a good entry price. We've seen the price history of MTN. We've seen the performance of the company from a revenue perspective, from an EBITDA, PAT, and also from a dividend history. They've been paid dividends almost every year, since they've been in Nigeria, except 2 years when they had some regulatory issues. The dividend yield is very attractive, and it's been growing every year. So to your question about, folks that participate in this offer, will they qualify for dividends? Yes, they will. This transaction is looking to close in about a week and a half. We believe with the allotment process, with the SEC approval process, everyone should own their shares this year. So if you're in the register this year, which you will be if you participate in the offer, you will qualify for a dividend.
Well, Lanre, this is principally a digital or online-based subscription IPO, the first in the Nigerian marketplace, eliminating some of those paperwork that were associated with IPOs in years and decades ago, and all issues around logistics and delivering of those subscription offer to doorsteps and offices. Many of those never came back. Folks, so a whole lot of work. How does it work? How will it work, digitally speaking? Tell me about what retail investors that are also not tech-savvy will have to do with this. For example, they're in far-flung areas of Nigeria, and they don't have this kind of digitally enabled mobile phone that I have.
Thank you for that question, and I probably should have mentioned this at the beginning of the segment. This is the first time in our markets where investors far and wide, also in the diaspora, can participate in an equity offer in Nigeria. With the help of our regulators, the SEC, and the NGX, we've come out with this very wonderful application called Primary Offer. People can access this application, this platform at www.primaryofferng.com. As I mentioned, it's the first of its kind. It's end-to-end. People should be able to buy these shares on this application in 5 minutes. All you need is your BVN and your date of birth. Once you put that in, your information, will drop into the system. If you do not have a CSS account, you can create one on the application. In 24 to 48 hours, CSS has confirmed they'll be able to create an account for you. Now, while you're creating this account, you can still go ahead in the application to go and proceed to buy shares. Put in your bank details where you will receive your dividends when dividends are paid. And at the end of the process, when SEC approves the allotment and shares are allotted to investors, successful investors, you'll be notified. Your CSS will be created, and the shares will be domiciled in your CSCS. So, end to end, we think it took about 5 minutes to complete this process. To your question around folks who are not tech savvy, who don't have the internet, don't have a smartphone, you can still fill paper. You can go into your stockbroker office, you can go to a receiving bank, or go to one of the banks with your forms. When you go in there, your stockbroker or the rep in the bank will take your forms with all your details and input it into the application. We really want this to be paperless. And both in your reference, the history of the market back in the day, paper, duplications, your mother's name, your father, people were buying for their dogs and their cats. We're trying to eliminate that. And with this application, I think it's foolproof. One of the beauties of this app also is, in terms of, your dividend payments. Or before that, let's even say in an event and we expect or we suspect this offer will be oversubscribed. So you go into the application, you buy 1,000 shares. In the event on oversubscription, following the green shoe, you're only allotted, say, 500 shares. You paid for 1,000 shares. The beauty of this app, because you've put in your bank details into this app, you'll be refunded in less than 2 days. Imagine the days of paper applications where you oversubscribe, you not to go, it will take you months before you get your refund. The other beauty of this application, having your details in an online platform, is because your bank details are in there, your dividend will be paid. Once all the reconciliation is done with your registrars and CSCS, as that when the dividend is paid, it goes straight into your bank account. So it's important for investors to use the application. It's important for stockbrokers who are receiving paper applications on behalf of their investors, on behalf of their clients, to input into the portal. And like technology, right? Your first iteration is not perfect. But I can tell you from the day this application was launched, there have been improvements, there have been updates. We've taken all the feedback. Our customer care centers are getting about 3,000 phone calls every day. And all that information has been, applied upon to improve this platform. So, by the time this exercise is over, we'd have learned a lot, would have perfected this in technology, and kudos to the NGX, kudos to the SEC who've brought us this wonderful technology, and I think is the way of the future in our markets.
Lanre, that's where my next question goes, because I know to get an electronic IPO process done, what does it really entail on the side of you financial advisors and regulators and other government agencies to agree to a digital subscription IPO process?
Well, there are clear rules around this. SEC has a very, clear, definite guidelines on how this should work. An exchange is, who is allowed to bring this, and I wish our colleagues and our friends at NGX are on this segment with me and talk more in detail on how this works. But, they work collaboratively with the advisors and the issuer. And I might say one thing, kudos to MTN. I mean, the timing cannot be any better. There's no company I think this could have worked out better for than MTN itself. Probably the most tech-savvy, tech-driven company in Nigeria, and this is quite wonderful and quite timely.
MTN in Nigeria is selling shares publicly to both institutional and retail investors, despite the fact that this telco has deep revenue pockets. Why does MTN need this money?
Very good question, and to be very, very clear, MTN does not need this money. The proceeds of this transaction is not going to MTN Nigeria. It's going to Group. Group has made an investment almost 20 years ago. As I mentioned, 2019 was an IPO and was a way for Group to sell down its stake and realize some of these investments they've made over time. And you can see MTN listed in Ghana. They've done something in Uganda a few days ago, and it's this, proceeds of this offer is going to MTN Group and not Nigeria. As you know, it's well capitalized, strong profits, strong revenues, strong dividend history. So to be very, very clear, this is going to Group and not Nigeria.
Okay, great. Let's leave it there for tonight. Lanre Buluro, the Managing Director in charge of Capital Markets at Chapel Hill Denham, the lead financial advisory to the MTN public offer 575 million ordinary shares. Thank you so much for your time. And we'll talk again when the offer closes, and then you give us your outlook.